We're good, Carol? Good evening and welcome to the October 25th, 2016 meeting of Pequannock Township Council. Ms. Marsh.
In accordance with the requirements of New Jersey's Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting was included in the annual meeting notice, which was filed in the office of the Township Clerk, posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, published as a legal notice in the Suburban Trends newspaper, and distributed to all persons requesting notice in accordance with Township policy.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a prayer and a moment of thanks for our individuals serving our nation. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Who is going to do that?
Our designated readers now.
I think it's in the book. Sorry.
Okay, a little slip up here.
Most gracious Providence, we ask that you bless this governing body with an abundance of wisdom and understanding, so that every deliberation will result in actions which will promote the common good and the general welfare for all the people of Pequannock Township. Amen.
Kathy is our official reader of that.
Oh, we forgot to assign it.
She's not here tonight. All right, the clerk will please call the roll.
Mrs. Florence Lynch?
Here.
Mr. Phelan? Here. Mr. Vanderhoff?
Here.
Ms. Winterfield is absent. Mayor Cole?
Here. Next item on the agenda is presentations, recognition of crossing guards. Sergeant Lane.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Holberg, members of the council. I appreciate a few minutes of your time and the public's time. We don't normally do this as a police department, but there's some very extenuating circumstances involving several of our guards that have since retired. Our first guard is not able to be here. She was called away. I received a call from her and was not able to attend. Miss Randy Henning. Randy has been a guard for 21 years now with the township at her post faithfully at Jacksonville Avenue and the Boulevard. And she's come to know a lot of kids through the years. She actually came on the job when I came on the job, so I've only known her there. So we are happy that she moved on to bigger and better things for her, and we congratulate her. I do have a plaque for her. As I said, she was not available tonight, so we congratulate her on 21 years of service to the Township of Pequannock as a crossing guard. My next crossing guard, Philomena, if you would like to come up. I'd like to embarrass you for a few minutes. You can stand here, young lady, for a little while. 28 years and 45 minutes at a clip, so. Well, what is the definition of a crossing guard? Okay. They say a crossing guard is a traffic management specialist who is normally stationed on busy roadways to aid pedestrians and elementary school children to get to school. You would agree, right? Well, what crossing guards also do is they're entrusted by the police department. They're entrusted by the school staff and faculty, principals, and they're also entrusted in the students' and children's parents who let their kid go out the door and hopefully knowing that they get to school safely. And Philomena, 28 years ago, from what I understand, it started out as a dare from a friend, a close friend that said, "You're not going to take that job." Well, Philomena actually took up the dare, being the Irish woman that she is, give up on a fight, and she took the job. And ever since that day, she has faithfully served this police department 28 years of service at your post. And I can only imagine how many police sergeants you've gone through in 28 years. I probably don't even know some of them. So that's pretty incredible. But for someone to dedicate themselves to getting up early in the morning, and instead of sitting, watching the news and catching up on everything and having a cup of coffee, all comfy and cozy in their house, we get dressed and we trudge out there in the weather that, I don't know, nowadays mailmen don't even really go out in, and stand there and faithfully do their job. And then have to turn down certain events that come up during the day because she knows her priority, and her priority is to get back to her shift mid-afternoon, mid-smack dab in the afternoon, to be there for her kids again. And that to me shows a lot of character, a real lot of character. So I want to congratulate you and present you with this plaque. And the plaque reads, presented to Philomena Horgan, School Crossing Guard, with sincere appreciation for your 28 years of dedicated service given to the Pequannock Township Police Department, dated October 25th, 2016. Thank you.
Or if you want to say something, you can.
Picture with the family now.
Is that finally going to get done?
Go have some pictures.
All my bosses were all very kind.
Thank you. Take a picture.
Flowers too.
Turn around.
Or how do we arrange that? In the middle. Hold it back up like that. Not in front of your face.
Terry, you want me to take the picture?
Yeah, then you can get in there.
Fake it. And then I'll get how are you? All right, here we go. I took a couple. All right, now me out. Just the family. Okay. Please, Mr. Mayor. It's a much better picture with you in it.
And then everybody just look this way. I'm the Suburban Trends.
Why don't you get this one?
There you go.
Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. Go. Thank you.
Trans carriers, right?
Thank you very much.
Thanks, George. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. It was really nice.
Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
At this time, are there any reports or comments from any volunteers serving our community? Jay?
It's a good night all around. Philomena was working for the town when I actually worked for the town, so congratulations. I'm here tonight to bring good words from the Historic District Preservation Commission. Most of you know, and most of you have seen the beautiful new outdoor lighting that's been installed to replace the original lights, two of which were vandalized several years ago. I want to commend both the council for backing this project to replace the lights, and Dave Holberg and his assistant Chris Tejan, who worked long and many hours to try to find the right lights. It was suggested by some former people in the audience who aren't here, we just ought to replace them with the same thing. But that would have been the easy thing to do, and those original lights were really not intended for a heavy-duty installation and still looking in character. And Chris and Dave made sure we got the right ones. So thank you very much. We've gotten a number of good comments about it, and they burn a fraction of the electricity, and they are vandal resistant. So thank you very much. On a quick other note, I'm speaking again just as a board member for the Historic District Commission. A few weeks ago, when we received notification that there would be an estate sale at the Martin Berry House, Mrs. Bogart's Furniture and Estate, we did a quick fundraising effort, and we set a goal of raising about $12,000, and we have nearly achieved that goal. There was a $3,000 challenge contribution, which we met, and we're pretty much very close to that, well over $10,000 now in just a few weeks. It's just a beginning, but it shows the tremendous support in the community for what the council's getting very close to doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. Any other volunteers? Louise?
Hi, Louise Marchese of 16 Roland Road. I just wanted to report on behalf of the Flood Advisory Committee that we are continuing to plan our public event, and tentatively I have planned on having it the second Thursday in December. So hopefully everything else will fall into place. The other thing I want to mention is tomorrow evening will be the Economic Development Committee's meeting. And that's about all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other volunteers? No. The next item on the agenda is public comment. This public comment period will be limited to a total of 30 minutes. An additional period of public comment is reserved later in the meeting. Individuals are requested to limit their questions and comments to 3 minutes. If anyone wishes to address the council, please wait to be recognized. Come to the microphone. Provide your name and address for the record. No? No one? All right. Next on the agenda is public hearing ordinance number 2016-13. Ms. Marsh.
Just the copy that the council has is, there's a typo on it, so I'm reading the correct title. This is Bond Ordinance 2016-13, Bond Ordinance reappropriating $16,450,000. Whoops, I'm not reading the right version. Hold on.
You want to borrow mine?
No. 16-1?
It's a bond, start again. This is ordinance number 2016-13, a bond ordinance reappropriating $16,540,000 and reauthorizing the issuance of $15,965,000 in bonds and notes of the Township of Pequannock in the County of Morris, New Jersey, to provide for the Village Area Sewer Extension Project and related improvements previously authorized, and superseding bond ordinance 2010-22 as amended and supplemented by number 2014 number 2, as amended by 2015-11 of the Township, amending such bond ordinances and directing the special assessment of part of the cost thereof.
Wow, maybe you should read that again.
Let's not.
Can we be done with this?
Are there any comments from council?
No.
Is there anyone in the audience that has questions or comments on this ordinance? Please come to the microphone and identify yourself for the record. Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Is there a motion to adopt this ordinance?
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance number 2016-13.
Is there a second? I'll second. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Florence Lynch?
Yes.
Mr. Phelan?
Yes.
Mr. Vanderhoff?
Yes.
Mayor Cole?
Yes. Next on the agenda is public hearing ordinance number 2016-14. Ms. Marsh.
This is an ordinance appropriating $171,000 from the Water Capital Improvement Fund for various capital improvements for the water utility in and by the Township of Pequannock in the County of Morris, New Jersey.
Are there any comments from council? If anyone in the audience has any comments on this ordinance, please come to the microphone and identify yourself for the record. Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is there a motion to adopt this ordinance?
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance 2016-14.
Is there a second? I'll second. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Florence Lynch?
Yes.
Mr. Phelan?
Yes.
Mr. Vanderhoff?
Yes.
Mayor Cole?
Yes. Next on the agenda is public hearing on ordinance number 2016-15. Ms. Marsh.
This is an ordinance establishing minimum and maximum salaries and pay rates for designated officials and employees of the Township of Pequannock for the year 2016.
Are there any comments from council?
No, we discussed.
If anyone from the audience has any questions or comments on this ordinance, please come to the microphone and identify yourself for the record. Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is there a motion to adopt this ordinance?
I'll make a motion to adopt 2016-15.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Florence Lynch?
Yes.
Mr. Phelan?
Yes.
Mr. Vanderhoff?
Yes.
Mayor Cole?
Yes. Next on the agenda is items for resolution. Ms. Marsh.
Beginning with Resolution R 2016-181, authorizing release of deposits for construction in the township right-of-way. 2016-182, authorizing payment in the amount of $1,459.20 to Katie Frey for accumulated leave. Resolution 2016-183, certifying there are no objections to the issuance of an alcoholic beverage control social affair special permit for Holy Spirit School. 2016-184, supporting Assembly Bill number 2717, providing for the allowance of charitable contribution deductions from the New Jersey gross income tax. 2016-185, endorsing and supporting the passage of Assembly Bill number 3686 and Senate Bill number 2423, designated as Ralph and David's Law. Resolution R 2016-186, expressing opposition to the excessive increase in the motor vehicle fuel tax, which I believe we're going to change the title of to be specific about enough to maintain the Transportation Trust Fund at a solvent and viable level. Resolution 2016-187, approving payment of the itemized claims is set forth on the October 21st, 2016 bill list.
Are there any comments on the resolutions from council?
Yeah, I just want to make one comment about 2016-184 with this charitable contributions on income tax. I mean, the state has no money, so I don't know how they would allow that to happen. I mean, seriously, it's crazy.
On 186.
Yes.
Number 2. Our point was to support the motor fuel tax to pay for the roads, but it shouldn't go anyplace else. And I read it in there, it's there, but only if you knew what our intention was when we wrote it.
When you say no place else, as
Well, we shouldn't be reducing sales tax like that.
thanks.
We shouldn't be using a fuel tax to reduce sales tax.
Well, that goes to how are we going to allow contributions against our tax returns to reduce our taxes? That's crazy. It's not going to happen.
So,
Well, and we tried as best as we could to kind of put in words council's what had been expressed, and
I can
it
read it in there, but if anyone didn't know what we meant.
While there was general understanding that the Transportation Trust Fund needed to be addressed,
Right.
and a motor, because we already had a very low fuel tax, that seems to be an obvious solution.
Right.
What they attempted to do was to create shift the tax burden, rather than, resolving an issue with a clear and decisive measure, which seemed obvious. So if there's changes in wording, please let us know what your thoughts are, and we'll certainly make it clearer to the extent that we want to express.
Something to the point that we support an increase in the fuel tax.
However,
That increase only going to the Transportation Trust Fund.
And only for the amount needed to
right.
keep it
If
solvent.
it's 18 cents, 19 cents, whatever it is, it's fine.
how'd they come up with the 23-cent number anyway?
Because of all the givebacks,
Oh, and then we're going to give charitable contributions on our tax returns.
The item number 2, to be resolved, we urge the legislature and governor to implement efficiencies, blah, blah, blah. Additionally urges that the increase in the motor vehicle fuel tax be limited to the amount necessary to keep the transportation trust fund solvent
so that's
and viable.
in there.
I mean, that was kind of
in
the
there.
crux of what we were trying to vote. Yeah.
But reading it, I think you only know what the intention is because of our position and of what we talked about.
Right, because there's a line here that says the council hereby goes on record opposing the recent excessive increase in the motor vehicle fuel tax. I mean, just that line alone says, hey, we don't.
Yeah, that line needs to be changed.
It's an excessive increase, and that we tried to get your thought across.
We know what the intention.
My point, I think
So
the
provide us
public
with the
reading
wording that you'd like.
is not going to understand
Right.
what we intended.
Right.
What if you took number
We
1 off?
think that it's excessive for blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, how about if we take number 1 off?
Yeah, I would be fine with removing number 1. Number 2 is very clear. And then
Right.
making sure that it's used just for those projects, for transportation, trust fund projects, not for...
Well, I could leave number 1 in there if you go on to say, the council goes on record opposing the excessive increase
However,
in the motor vehicle tax.
However, sees a need for an increase in the motor vehicle tax to...
Only to be used for...
Right, or is not only being used for the motor vehicle, something like that. But I think we could clean it up a little.
Do you think we should reword it and
Why don't we pull it out, reword it?
Let's pull it out for the next one, because I want to make sure it's clear to the public, if everybody's okay with that.
I'm okay.
I'm okay with that.
So that, we'll take out 186 for now?
Yeah. And like you said, Rich, I tend to agree with you on the other one with the charitable gifts. I don't think it's really gonna
That's the one that
do anything.
That's the one that
they
the
recommend,
league
that
asked
the
us
league
to
had recommended
support.
it, so I'm okay
Right, but you
leaving it
understand
in.
the thinking
Yeah,
here.
I know.
We're asking for more money on gas tax. We're doing this.
Right.
The state's got financial trouble as far as I'm concerned. They can't afford to
You
get
can
into
put your
this.
thoughts in there and pass it. but
I'm
it's not
surprised.
really do
They're
anything.
going to lower the income tax, or not the income tax, the sales tax.
Like %.
You're right. Watch that not happen in 2 years or whatever they decide.
All right, is there a motion to adopt these resolutions?
I'll make the motion, but let me do this. 2016, I'll make a motion to pass Resolution 2016-181 through 185, and then I'll make a motion to pass to 2016-187, so we're skipping over 186.
Is there
I'll
a
second.
All right,
Yeah.
roll call?
Mrs. Florence Lynch?
Yes.
Mr. Phelan?
Yes.
Mr. Vanderhoff?
Yes.
Mayor Cole?
Yes. All right, there's no items on the agenda for discussion this evening. Next on the agenda is reports and notices. Anybody have any comments or questions from council on the 2? No?
No.
Next on the agenda is the manager's report, Mr. Holberg.
All right, joint study committee meeting with the Board of Ed was held on October 12th. A number of current topics were discussed, and we continue to have a very good working relationship with the board. We are looking at the potential of an additional shared service in some form by doing their vehicle maintenance. All paving associated with the village sewer project has been completed. Punch list items are still to be completed. A number of street and driveway drainage issues have been identified and are being looked at. The new digital radio system has been installed, and full conversion of all agencies was scheduled to be completed today. I believe the fire department was completed this afternoon. The radios have the capability of communicating with other agencies that are not digital, including pagers, which are in use by our fire and EMS. So project complete.
You have a scanner. Can you still, Rich, are you still getting?
No, you need a digital
I
scanner
have digital
to
scanners.
hear transmissions.
I upgraded to digital
Because that was
scanners.
on Facebook the other day. What's going on? We can't hear any of the police calls.
Unless you
don't
own
want you
a
to hear
digital
digital
scanner,
scanner.
and they're very expensive, they're like $500 a piece, so really, if you want to make the investment, you got to make the investment.
Okay. Next on the agenda is council reports and announcements. Councilwoman Florence Lynch.
Yes, just real quickly, I have a couple of things. I had mentioned at the last meeting that I was going to have a representative here tonight from Economic Development to give us an update. Well, their meeting is tomorrow, and they wanted to meet one more time before they came to a council meeting to give a report. The mayor and I did attend the chamber meeting last week where we did have some discussions, and Economic Development came in, and the mayor and I were there just to kind of, give a little update of what's been going on with our field trip visit, as well as what Economic Development is doing. So they will be here at the next meeting. I did want to ask a question of everyone and of you, Dave, is I know you had asked us after the field visit to kind of give you some feedback, which I finally was able to download the pictures on Dropbox. That took me a while. But I kind of wanted to see what you want as the next steps, just, visually what we were thinking, or, what kind of input do you want from us, and have you gotten any input?
Very limited input.
Right.
Very limited.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm asking.
I will redistribute the sheet that we were
Yes.
working from,
That would be
which
great.
listed, kind of went through the things which are impacted by zoning that you can affect, and the things that are not, which are aesthetic but not necessarily zoning issues. So things like, building height setback, parking requirements, things like that, certainly are zoning. So that's the kind of thing that I want feedback on.
Yeah.
So I'll redistribute that, because that will kind of give a guide of
That would be great, because,
some of the input that we're looking for.
Yeah, because you handed it out that day. I didn't have it on
Okay.
email, so I couldn't find it to share it with Economic Development, but we discussed it. But yes, that would be helpful. We are meeting tomorrow night, so if you happen to have that, that would be great. And in addition to that, the only thing I wanted to say was the flood committee meets tomorrow night. That's their regular meeting, as Louise had mentioned. I'm sorry, Economic Development, not flood. Economic Development's normal meeting is tomorrow. The library board also has their meeting tomorrow, because they moved it from last week because they didn't have a quorum to this week. So I've told both groups that I'll be splitting my time. So, but both meetings are tomorrow night. Okay, and that's it. Thank you.
Councilman Phelan?
Yeah, just a quick question, Dave. When are we planning on starting to pick up the leaves?
Oh, we have
Started
Oh,
today.
yeah, okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I haven't seen them yet.
The season, the leaves are falling very slowly this season. We're almost at the end of October, and there's still a lot of green leaves and leaves on trees. Our practice over the course of the past 6 years has been to put the number of crews out there necessary to kind of keep up on a weekly basis. The goal is to, clear leaves from each street once a week. So we have limited crews because the number of leaves out there is relatively small.
Right,
So,
just recently it started to
Yeah,
pile up.
and we, over the past weekend, there was more, so there was more of a presence today, and I think over the course of the next couple of weeks, we're going to kind of get crushed, but we'll do the best we can to kind of keep up with it, but they are out there, and all of our equipment is ready and waiting.
Okay, when do we stop picking up branches and stuff? Not us, but the service.
The last Monday.
Yeah, curbside vegetative collection goes through the end of December.
Okay. All right, good. That's all I ask, whatever. That's it.
Councilman Vanderhoff.
Shade Tree met last night. We've done about 160 work orders this year on either tree pruning or removing. We've hired an expert to come in on rock ledge and do a trimming. trim up the trees, get them in shape, and
When you say expert, what do you mean by expert?
outside tree surgeon, just to do trimmings.
Are you going to
Clean 'em
notify the
up.
people first?
I think they already started trimming, so that's done.
I'll lock my door.
Yeah, we're not removing them, we're just trimming them up, getting back, looking like the shape. They may have a spurt of growth afterwards and get some time out of it. Also, we're gonna, clear some of the rims that are a danger to the DPW trucks hitting when they plow.
Trees are falling apart out there.
And UPS and all the other trucks, so we'll be doing that. Contact the person who wanted the trees down because the message did not get to Forest Harper. Probably an interim bill that went into the wrong email.
Talking about 27.
Whatever one you said, I don't know.
Okay, all right.
All right, her message did not get through.
Got it.
All right. I think we need to look at the Christmas tree ordinance for sales again. I think November 1st is a fair setup time, not October 1st.
You're talking about that guy over there.
Yeah, I mean,
Come on, that looks like garbage.
it does, and, there's businesses in town who would love to have an outside sale for, 2 months, and it's not allowed by ordinance. I think we're stretching the envelope a little bit.
Didn't somebody come here years ago about the Christmas tree ordinance?
That was Holy Spirit.
That was Holy Spirit. They just wanted to
Holy
be- Yeah.
Yes,
Wanting more time or something? I forget what it was.
right, that was Holy Spirit. I think we
They
had a
couldn't get the thing
$500
out of the
Oh,
frozen
that's right,
ground.
that's right.
deposit to make sure they cleaned up, and, but I just think it's excessive, to have it out there for a month beforehand.
I was a little surprised when I saw them putting that up. It's like,
They have Christmas commercials
That's it.
on.
Yeah, thank you. All I have is tomorrow night will be the fair housing meeting, and there's not much on the agenda for that meeting. Next on the agenda is public comment. If there's anyone that wishes to address the council, please wait to be recognized, come to the microphone, and provide your name and address for the record. No one?
okay.
Sharon, no?
None?
Next on the agenda are minutes, and there are no minutes to approve. Is there anything for closed session?
I have nothing.
Well,
Make up something?
the record.
Make up something, anything.
There being no further business, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.